about a little finance in our community. We're going to talk some boxing with the great John David Jackson, who is in queue right now. We're going to talk about that Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman fight. We're going to talk about some local businesses that I want to push out there today. We're going to talk about a guy by the name of Mr. Frazier, Frazier's Auto Engine World. This guy is an outstanding engine builder. He also has a lot of secondhand cars that are in tremendous condition. I actually bought one myself. I bought a 2006 Dodge Charger with the Hemi in it. This, I'm telling you, outstanding car. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a car guy to my heart. I love cars. Now, I've never been a Charger guy, but this car ran so good, I had to get one. So if you're looking for a new car or you're looking to get your engine redone, why don't you give Mr. Frazier a call at 904-201-1925. 904-201-1925. And also today, I'm going to talk to you guys about the company that I'm a part of called Defiant Wolf. Hold on one moment. This is some of the new gear that we're putting out. Look at these colors. This is gold and white. This is one of the very few colors we have, gold and white. Defiant Wolf, and I'm a partner in this company. And I'm telling you, I don't wear gear if it's not good gear. I mean, the thickness of this cup is serious. Look at the way it's built. This is a well-manufactured leather cup. Also, we have the headgear to go with that. The same headgear. It's white and gold, and this is the white and gold series color combination. I mean, also very thick, very good headgears. Chin protection built right into this headgear, as well as the colors are awesome. And this is our crowning jewel. One moment. I think you saw this last week. This is our training glove. This is a 16-ounce training glove. It also comes with an apparatus to connect it to your back so you can you're taught to learn proper punching. This glove is designed to make sure that you learn to punch properly. I may not have been the best boxer, but I was as good a puncher as any of them, and that comes from punching properly. And I do want you guys to know we're working on getting the website together for this. I just want to show you all these gloves. These are 100% leather gloves that are made in Pakistan, and we're looking to get our own manufacturer here in the States soon as possible. But right now we're getting these made in Pakistan, and they're great gloves, though. Very good gloves. I like these gloves. These are gloves that I use now. And I've been a Reyes man for years, by the way. Okay. Today we're going to talk about our topic of discussion. Our main topic is going to be about the black dollar, the buying power of the black dollar in America. We're going to talk about what we can do with our dollar and where we foresee it going and how we can change what's going on in the black community just by black spending. We keep complaining about not having jobs, but we never speak about where we're spending our money. Where we spend our money makes the biggest difference of what our communities have. Not just where you live, but also what you have. And we need to really redefine and look at what we're doing with our dollars now. You know, if you have money and to spend it somewhere else and not spend it among people that look like you and live in the same community as you and have the same desires and wants and needs as you is the issue that we worry about now. And there's so many people that don't get this part of it. This part is the Hispanics, the non-whites, and everyone else, others. They spend their money among each other. They spend their money among each other. And because they spend their money among each other, they can do so much more in their communities. They can determine where the money goes, what is done in the communities, what happens in the city. But when you spend your money outside your community, it does not empower your own. It does not empower, it doesn't make the streets safer. I mean, the problem is we don't take care of our own financially as well as mentally. I mean, we want to talk about not having anything in our communities. Where are we spending our money? What are we putting our money in? What are we doing with those things, the money that can be used to pour back into our community? What are we doing to help our own? And look, this ain't nothing about black and white only. This is about community as well as, because average black man lives next door to a black man. Let's really be honest with that. The average black man lives next door to a black man. And it has nothing to do with black or white at this point. We got to spend among ourselves. We spend with the East Indian and the Arab and the Chinese who live in other communities. Be different if they lived in our community and we would spend it with them. But the people you talking about live in another community. It's all about community at this point. So let's talk about how black people who are the most impoverished among us by percentage. Let's talk about that and how we can do for our own and build for our own. But right now we're gonna get into a conversation with this guy who I know. I know this guy pretty good, and we're gonna talk about Danny Garcia and the Keith Thurman fight, and we're gonna talk about what's going on in his life right now, what we see in the future, and how we see boxing going from this point forward, and how we plan on doing something about it. Because I train fighters, he trains fighters, but I want to invite to the stage right now someone who I hold in high regards, and if you don't hold him in high regards, you got to be the craziest person in the world. This man by the name of John David Jackson. How you doing, Mr. Jackson?
Hey man, not too bad. How you doing, man? Good to be on the show.
Good,
Great to be on the show, actually.
Oh man, I'm happy to have you. You know, you can come anytime. I mean, you don't have to. We don't have to talk about boxing. You just show up. You know, just happy you're here. I want you to do me a favor. Tell me how many men you've led to world titles since 2008. Because everybody have an issue with this thing, man. They don't seem to understand exactly what you've done for boxing since you came into the game. How many guys have you took to the world title?
I took 6 fighters. Actually five guys to the world title, and of those 5, 4 were underdogs, including yourself. You know, you were my first, and I love that. You know, people didn't realize I was, running the other day thinking about that. They had Diaz he was supposed to just stomp you in the ground. I mean, no one gave you any chance to win that fight. No way in the world you're supposed to even be in the fight. And the way that you pick this guy apart and beat him so systematically, it just proved my point to people. Any fighter that truly believes within himself and has the desire and the skill, he can become world champion. And you did exactly what you're supposed to do that night to beat the guy who was supposed to be the next coming in the lightweight division.
Oh wow! Let me tell y'all something. John had I think the year before, John took a guy who came down and trained with us to a world title, who was supposed to fight for the world. He fought for the world title, named Mark Streisand. We're looking at John's record now. John has 41 bouts. He's 36-4, 36-4 with 20 knockouts. John was a phenomenal fighter, and a lot of times, a lot of people didn't know how awesome John was. But John holds a record. He holds a record. He defended the 154-pound title, WBO title, 6 times, more than anyone else in the history of that belt and in that division and that belt ever. He holds that record right now. So they got to get somebody to come along and beat that, because that's Hall of Fame worthy, because he's held it for a long time. But back to what I was saying. John was training a guy who was my boy. We ran together and everything. And I kept trying to tell this guy, man, you can't keep eating everything. But every time we went out, he wanted some chiles. Every time we went out, he wanted to eat. Mark Streisand, Mark Suarez, good dude. Oh man, good dude. But Mark ate himself out of that fight, and he lost. And I wasn't happy that he lost, but deep down inside, I was like, man, I was supposed to be that dude, man, to be the first one to win the title. And I never forget coming back. I never forget coming back on the bus ride back to Cancun, the Cancun resort down in in Mexico. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting next to that poster right now. History in Cancun, March 8th, 2008.
I was there.
Yeah, John was there, and I never forget. I didn't really break up. I don't think we really got emotional like we got emotional till I made the statement. I said, John, you can have a lot of other fighters that become champion, but I will always be the first. and everybody thought that was the way it should have been. I mean, Randall said it, Allen said it, Glenn Johnson even said it. Said you were supposed to be the first champion that John had. You guys been through the most, and I laugh about it because of all the people in this world that I hold in high regards, there's no one I hold in higher regard than John David. John David Jackson has been and always will be the linchpin for me of what I think a guy should be as a trainer, as a man, as a father. I mean, we all make mistakes along the way, and I hear guys always talk about John David and his fights with Jorge, whatever his name, Castro, and they like, oh, but him and Nate Campbell are just the same. I'm like, we may be just the same, but I tell you what, when we talk to each other and we say champ, we can really mean it. A lot of guys, they don't get it. We can really mean it. We came through some stuff, and we came through some stuff together. I joke about it all the time. I remember when I was sleeping on the couch and was in a 2-bedroom apartment, and John had 3 sons and 1 daughter in the same room, and they had a petition up, made it like a 3-bedroom almost. And people don't get it. Why I pull for John to do so well. Well, if you don't know, you don't have to know. We know. I remember sitting at the table eating John food and drinking up his juice. we know this, and so for me, we down for this. But John, tell me what you think of this fight that's gonna happen with Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman this weekend tonight.
Well, first of all, I think it's a good fight for boxing.
It is.
For boxing needs these kind of fights. Because most of the top contenders today are champions. They don't fight each other. They don't face each other. For whatever reason, you can bring their promoters, you can bring their managers, or you can bring the fighters. But these fights aren't being made. So a fight like this to have been made and these guys fighting tonight, that's good for boxing. Now the outcome, to me, it really depends on what Thurman does. I think he's a better all-around boxer. He's a bigger puncher. I don't know if his chin is good because you whack Garcia yourself. You got a pretty good whisker. I just think overall, I think that Thurman's a better fighter. Now he may prove me wrong tonight because he has a little boxing skill, but he's a big puncher. I don't see much in Danny. I never really, and I hate to say it, I never really thought highly of Danny at all. When he fought you, I trained you for the fight, but I couldn't beat that as someone I was working with that night. But from everybody I talked to, they said you got robbed. It was a bad decision that went his way. And and I tried to explain to them it went his way because he was a house fighter.
Yeah, he was.
You came in on the underdog, so you had to knock him out to win the fight. But having said that, to tell the fans, I would just say I'm leaning towards Thurman because from what I've watched of Thurman, he's a bigger puncher and he has boxing skill.
He's a dog, and nothing else.
It's kind of limited, but he does have skill. I'm not impressed with Danny Garcia at all.
I think that Danny is going to be in a situation where he's dealing with a guy that's physically too strong for him. If it goes down the way that it may go down, Danny's dealing with, Keith is a strong, and I say this to anybody, and you know this to be true. There's somebody guy that born and raised in Florida. I don't know if it's the sunshine, but we tend to be really physically strong guys, and Keith is a physically strong guy, and Danny's not. But we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. But what we do want to hope for is a great fight because there's nothing that would be better for this on CBS, prime time. They're going to have probably 10 million viewers on this or close to that and have it be a great fight.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing would be better for boxing right now than that.
It would put a nail in HBO and Showtime's coffin. Oh, wouldn't it? It would. And my thing is, I imagine the money I could have made fighting these kind of fights.
If they do good, I'm going to cut you off, but if they do good, what it does, it brings back the NBC, ABC, CBS. Now they might get more interested in bringing back boxing to prime time and to these free TV.
Right.
Not so much HBO and Showtime, which, listen, I don't have a problem with that. But, what boxing needs now, it needs that shot in the arm. It needs these two guys to have a great fight. So it brings back the excitement, and it also brings back the curiosity for CBS, ABC, and NBC to get back into boxing like it once was.
Exactly. You know what? The cool thing about it is, it doesn't have to be a 12-round fight. It could be I'm going to tell you the truth. This fight has the ability, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to step out here and say this. This fight has the ability to be a Hagler-Hearns.
I was going to just say those magic words, but I was afraid to.
I got to be the one to say it. This fight has the ability, not saying it's going to be, a Hagler-Hearns. Two guys out.
Let me ask you one question, Nate, because you've been in the ring with us. Does he have it in him to stand his ground and fight Thurman if he has to? To get that fortitude in him to say, you know what, we're going to war tonight and just fight him. Can he do that?
Well, he has. When I say hell no, when it comes to standing punch, I don't think so. But anything can happen. But I'm gonna tell you the one thing I can say I saw in Danny. Danny ain't no punk. When I hit Danny and hurt him with a nasty body shot. I dug down on the. I reached down in there and got, as Jimmy said, I got down in the grits, John. I reached under there. Yeah. It was by no means that body shot that I would have landed if I'd have had 5 more weeks. But for 10 days, that was a pretty damn good body shot. And he took that body shot and walked it off. He walked it off and ran around and held and tied up a little bit. But at the end of the day, he didn't quit. So I can respect that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Keith Thurman is as big a puncher as I was to the body, not to the body.
Okay. Well, that's why I figured. That's why I figured if anybody knew, it would be you. That's why I asked you. I said, you know better. You in the ring with it, Danny.
That's why I lean towards Danny.
If anybody has first-hand experience, you have it.
I lean a little bit towards Danny because Danny's fought a lot better guys. When you look at his list of guys, I mean, Keith done fought some dogs. I mean, but let's talk. Keith did. I saw Keith get hit with a body shot, and that asshole tightened up on him, boy. You couldn't push wind out that ring when Collazo hit him. I was standing right there ringside. Collazo hit him. I could see his butthole tightened up. You couldn't push air out of it. I'm telling you right now. And I ain't making this up. Here's how serious it was. He got hit so hard, my kid can't stood up and say, "Here's fight over." All Collazo had to do was hit him that one more time. But Keith showed that even when he was hurt, he was a dog. So both guys showed they can have dog in them. So that's the part that I want to see.
Well, listen, I hope that's what happened to fans, like we all alluded to. That's what boxing needs, and they need that. It's a shot in the arm for boxing. So hopefully both guys come out with the Hagler, Hearns mentality and say, let's go to war, and it'll be a great fight. It'll be a great night.
I hope so. What do you have going on? Who are you training right now? I heard you're training Curtis Stevens.
Yes, Curtis fights next Saturday, and he's fighting David Lemieux up in upstate New York, and the winner, it gets in line for a shot at the middleweight title.
Oh, good thing. I wish you to. I tell you what. When you do hang up, give him a call. Have him call in so we can talk to him. Get him some airplay about that, man. I really want to talk to Curtis and give him a show of my regards. It's awesome. Whenever you train the guy, even if me and the guy had words 20 years ago, and I'm pulling for him. But here's the question that everybody want me to ask. You know where I gotta go, Coach.
Come on with it.
you know me. You know how I feel about you. So everybody who know me know how I feel about you. Kenny Ellis also feel the same way. What in the whole entire hell happened in the mind of Sergey Kovalev?
I can't tell you what happened in his mind or what runs through his mind. He's a different cat altogether. He's not like us. He's not from the same cloth. He's from Russia, first of all. And I'm not saying Russian people are bad, but he gives Russian people a bad name. That night when he fought Ward. Now, believe this or not, as we're going down ringside going towards the fight, he stops me and says, "John, I don't want you to do any talking tonight. Let this guy right here." Some guy I'd never seen in my life. That night, the first time I ever saw this guy, he said, "Let this guy do all the talking." And I looked at him and said, "What? Are you serious?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "No problem." See, my money already guaranteed, so whether I talk or not, I'm getting paid. I didn't get that point. I didn't care. And, I've been in camp with this guy trying to give him a fight plan to beat Ward the way I thought it could be Ward. Now, you're going to tell me the night of the fight, let this guy do all the talking. I said, okay, no problem. Now, having said that to you, the first 6 rounds, he did everything that we worked on, and he pretty much shut Ward out. Now, the second half of the fight, he did what the other guy was trying to do, and he lost at least about 4 of those rounds. He still won the fight in my eyes. But he gave the second half of the fight, he gave reasonable doubt to let Ward get back into it. So I can't tell you what's going through this cat's mind. And you got me in camp to teach you how to beat this guy, and I'm doing my job, but come fighting like you want someone else to do all the talking, hey, that's on you.
Maybe if it was one of Trump's guys, he would have let him talk to him. You know how Trump's guys are talking to Russians now all the time.
But here's my thing, man. Let me tell y'all something. I had to ask that question, and I wanted to ask that question because I tried to stay out of this, especially with him talking. Anybody knows anything? If you say anything about Roy Jones, John David Jackson, Kenny Ellis, and you say something about them, if you say it to my face, we can fight about it. And I don't mind a fight. I like a good fist fight. I still like one. But you have to come to the realization, somebody who's dealing with the media as much as I'm dealing with them now, I have to hear the bullshit, and I'm going to call it what it is. Bullshit that Sergey Kovalev is saying in the internet. And you can't tell me nothing about John because I know his mind. If I don't know nothing else, I don't know any other man alive. I know the mind of John David Jackson. There's a picture that me and John David probably are the only two that have in our homes of me in front of John and John behind me when we getting ready to fight in Cancun. We look like we in the same mind process. Our mental is the same because we train together, and I understand what he wants. He don't even have to tell me. John has got to the point. Me and John were at the point, and most fights we didn't even talk about boxing in between rounds. Come on, John, am I lying?
No.
We didn't even talk about boxing. He would even tell me, well, you keep doing what you're doing and talk about something else. And so I understood when I saw Sergey Kovalev change, I knew it was something Sergey was doing, not John. So my thing is this. Sergey Kovalev does not respect John David Jackson. I'm going to say it, and he feel like John is help, the hired help. I never felt that way about John David Jackson. I felt like John David Jackson was the brains of the operation. And I say that to anybody. Whenever he spoke to me, at any time, in any fight that I was speaking, when I spoke back to him, I said one of two things: yes, sir, or no, sir. That's all I ever said to him. Well, other than the fact when I did his first rock video, y'all, I don't know if y'all remember this. I said John David Jackson, the best fucking trainer in the world. That was his first rock video. That was compilation 1. But you don't get to be where John was as a fighter or as a trainer and not know what you're talking about. John, let's talk about your history before we go any further. Let's talk about what trainers you had for yourself as a fighter. I want people to hear this.
Yeah. Well, listen, to me, I only had one true teacher, and that was Georgie Benton. After that, no one else had to teach me how to fight. I mean, it's kind of like when you and I got together, I met you. The first thing I told you was, when our first day of training, I said, you know how to fight, Nate. You know how to fight. You don't need me for that. When the bell rings, you know what to do. All I came in for was to make you better, take away some of your mistakes, and improve some of the things that you need to do better to be an all-around fighter. But as far as fighting went, man, listen, from day one that I met you, you could do that. That wasn't a problem. You know, and so Georgie was the same way. When I met Georgie, amateur-wise, I was a very good fighter. But what he did was he came and polished me as a pro. And he made me even better fighter than I was. So once Georgie finished with me, honestly, there was no one else could teach me anything in boxing. He told me, you know, when he and I parted ways, he said, son, I've taught you I can teach you. You know, right now, Lou Duke was trying to gather up all his time, so I had to leave him. Well, we left on a wonderful note. So once I left George, I had Emmanuel Stewart, and, you know, God rest his soul. Emmanuel was a nice guy, but he wasn't a teacher of boxing, not for me. You know, and then I had Don Turner. You know, and once I say once again, Don Turner was good for boxing, but he really didn't teach me anything. You know, he showed me how to punch within 6 inches. Made me become a better puncher on the 6-inch punching. But other than that, you know, Georgia did all that. And after that, that was mainly it.
Right.
You know, I had no one else that really came in to try to teach me, because once Georgia got finished with me, you couldn't teach me anything else. I knew how to fight at that point. I'll give you a quick case in point. They took me as I was champion years later to go see Freddie Roach. I said, for what? So he trained me. I said, train me for what? So I said, you know what? Let's stop. Let me go see what you guys are talking about with Freddie Roach, how great he is. So I worked with Freddie Roach for 2 days. God's my witness. I was showing Freddie Roach how to fight by the time we finished. He would show me a move, and I would say, no, once they take that same move, let's do it like this. I was showing him how to fight better. So I knew at that point he couldn't teach me anything. Yeah, by the time once George gets finished with me, who else could show me anything?
And henceforth, you're training one world champion after another, and Roach's guys are not winning so much.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. 2 guys touched me before anybody else touched me. Frankie Menace and Doc Charlie Williams. Both of them taught me 2 different things. Frank wanted me to be a pretty boxer, and I could do that. Doc wanted me to be a nasty, low-down, dirty fighter. That's all. And Doc was 6'4", Frank was 5'7". To pretty much tell you, it didn't make much sense. Doc fought Archie Moore 3 times, fought Jimmy Bivens, then fought this guy by the name of Charlie Burley. Many of y'all may not know who it is, but I know John does. Jimmy Bivens and Charlie Burley fought on Black Murderers Road. So did Archie Moore. And Doc wanted me to learn how to fight. And so you would see a lot of Doc come on in fights. But you would also see a lot of Frank, because there was a lot of slick to what I did, but a lot of people didn't see that. And for me, I think that what John showed me to do, what John David showed me to do, John told me something early on. He said, I want you to have longevity. He said, anybody can stand out here and fight and get hit, but I want you to have longevity. I want you to be around a while. And what John was able to do was impress upon me that I didn't have to be all killer all the time. That I could mix both of those styles together and get who I turned out to be. So for me, I keep saying this. I said it one night on the phone with one of the Mayweathers, Jeff Mayweather. I said, John David Jackson, the best trainer in boxing. He was offended. I didn't care. Because at the end of the day, you know how I feel. If you can't win no fist fight, you can't tell me not to say what I want to say. And that's the way I felt. I say, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And I respect Jeff, but I still would tell anybody in the room, John David Jackson is the best living, breathing trainer today. And that's my opinion.
Well, let me share this with the fans real quick. Let me give you a story. Now, you don't have to help me out. When we were in California, Westminster,
yeah.
One day you were sparring with the Mexican kid. You probably know the name. I don't remember.
Vinny Grajeda. Nino Grajeda.
Well, now, I want to tell the people. I want to the listeners. Now, when the session started, it started out as a sparring match. Now, I knew by that time I'd known Nate a little bit, but I didn't know. I knew he could box, and I would tell people he's a hell of a fighter. This particular day, he sparred with this cat, and this cat came out trying to gun Nate out. Trust me. So what Nate did, the transformation was so beautiful. He started out boxing this cat. I mean, he was picking this cat apart. I couldn't take the combination he and this cat with. About the third round, Nate said, "F this. I'm gonna do something a little different." Came back to the corner. He said, "Coach, I'm gonna take him out." I said, "Well, do what you got to do. Just be careful." For the next few rounds, Nate proceeded to beat the dog crap out this cat from pillar to post. And let me tell the listeners this guy was bigger than Nate.
He was
Nate
154.
was a junior lightweight. I think his kid was like junior 140, I'm not sure, but he was big that day. Nate proceeded to beat this cat from pillar to post for the next 3 rounds. I mean, when I said savage beating, I felt bad for the kid. I thought the corner should stop the sparring.
And I was sitting on the ropes. Actually, it was late.
But when it was all said and done, and Nate came back, I just said one thing to him. I said, "Son, you can box. As you're a hell of a fighter." I said, "Ain't no way in the world you can't be world champion." Because he showed me not only was he a hell of a puncher, he was a hell of a boxer. He had scientific boxing skills. He just never really used them to his full advantage. He just took the opportunity to really use those talents. And that day, you showed me, man, that you were going to be champion, whether you really believe it or not. Because you had what it took to be champion. All you had to do was just a little more drive, a little more just straightforward attention. You're going to get there. And the fans don't realize, sometimes when you got a dime in the rough in the gym. Some trainers nowadays they want to do too much. They want to prove that they can take you to the top, but they don't let you be who you are, and they don't let you grow the way you're supposed to grow. I knew you were gonna be champion. Case in point, when you had the first fight, Robbie Keaton, you made one simple mistake, and it cost you. After the fight, everybody was just dogging Nate out. Oh, you broke my heart. Or they all kind of left him. All I said was one thing to Nate. Nate was my boy, and I love him. And I said to Nate, Nate, as long as you believe in yourself, I believe in you. You can still be champion. I said, listen, no matter what happens, I'm there for you. Through thick and thin. I said, don't give up on yourself, because I'm not going to give up on you.
He said, I'm not his exact.
Because I knew he could be world champion. This cat has too much boxing skill, too much talent. And, and I think that kind of separates me from a lot of trainers, because I see, in a fighter, if you got it, I'm going to tell you. If you don't, I'm going to tell you don't have it. But Nate had it. I don't want to belittle Nate, because guess what? He already let himself down. Why am I going to talk bad to him? I said, man, don't give up on yourself. He could be world champion. And guess what? He proved me right. Because a year later, he beat the guy that's supposed to be the baddest dude in boxing at the time, which was Juan Diaz.
And before that, I never forget this.
That's what I'm saying to fans, man, because that was, that showed me that, you overcame whatever, all obstacles to become a world champion. And that night, you just made one simple mistake, and it cost you. But it wasn't any of your career. It was just a bad night for you.
Right. And
you came back with, with great success and proved to the world, hey, with Diaz, that you are that man.
I never forget this, and I'm going to say this. I never forget when I was getting ready to fight Kid Diamond. I was nervous. I'm going to tell y'all this. I've never really been nervous in a fight, but I knew that at that point, if I lost another fight, it was over for me. There was no talking about it. There was no coming back from this. And I never forget, John David actually called me. I didn't call him. He called me. And he called me, and he said, how you feel? I said, I feel good, Coach. He said, be you. Don't go out there and just do you. He said he can't mess with that. He can't deal with that. Just do you. Be you. And he was training Shane Oates at the time. And it was a Roy Jones, Tony Tarver card. Man, I went out, and all I could remember to do, this is the funny part about it. When me and John first started working in Westminster, I never threw an inside uppercut. I never threw a left uppercut lead. Never. No matter where you were, I would never throw a lead left uppercut. And I was telling John one day, I was like, he was like, lead left up. He's like, left uppercut. I'm like, well, coach, I don't particularly like throwing a left uppercut lead because that leaves you open for the hook. Right hand, the hook, whatever. What I say was the hook. He said, okay, left uppercut. I said, well coach, I just told you I don't like I don't like throwing the left uppercut lead. Okay, all right, okay, listen. I want you to throw the left uppercut, double left uppercut. I said, coach, I don't particularly like. Then after I said it about 4 or 5 times, he kept saying, okay. I said, okay, I get what he's saying. Evidently, this is something I need to work on, so we going to do this. I went out and I fought Kid Diamond and hit him with the lead left uppercut and was hurting him with it. And in 2008, March 8th, I hit Juan Diaz with the lead left uppercut and cut him with it. All because he didn't argue with me about it. He didn't try to correct me and tell me why he was doing it. He just kept doing what he was being paid to do. And the problem is, too many times now we're allowed to do and say, you know what I'm saying, what we want to say. And I'm at the point in my life now where I understand what a great trainer is, just like it took me years to understand how great a fighter that Winky Wright was. I love Winky Wright as a person, but I thought Winky didn't take enough risk. Then I realized he didn't have to take enough risk, because Winky could box. So why take a risk? So I understand John Davis' psyche. I understand his method because I came up under it. Truly, I became a complete fighter under it. So for me, you are the best fighter in boxing, trainer in boxing rather. You took me to a place when everybody thought I was done. We became world champion when we were 5-1 underdog. How awesome is that?
Mm.
How many underdogs have you had?
And you take this part, man. Here's the fans don't realize. Remember, we had a bus ride going someplace, and I overheard a guy from the WBC and Jose Sulaiman was still alive, rest his soul.
Right. They
were talking about plans for Juan Diaz's next fight already. They already had dismissed you and you're challenging for the world title.
Yeah,
it was so bad, and I was so pissed off by that. I said, man, you know what? These cats, they underestimate your ability, right? I'm saying they already got plans for this kid for the next fight. They already dismissed you and in your fight. You know, you didn't know how people overlook your boxing skills. And I listen, not because I'm on your show talking about it. I tell everybody that I talk to about that. You know, it just made me so mad. They had the nerve to sit there and already discuss his next fight. You guys hadn't even fought yet. Right. You know, we're 2 days away from the fight. They already dismissed you. You know, this is win the bag from. Let's plan his next fight. Because no one really, you know, I don't think Diaz could really even really studied you to see if you could box or punch. They just figured they're gonna run right through you because he was a volume puncher.
Right.
But guess what? That night you out punched him.
Oh yeah.
Completely.
Oh yeah. We worked.
You know.
But we put our work in. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let John tell everybody what else he has going on. And if you can't get Curtis to call in, tell Curtis to call in, give him the number. I love to talk to him tonight. John told me something, and this it's a funny story. Everybody laughs about this now. One day I was hitting mitts, and we were doing a mitt job and mitt work, and we did mitts first because there was so many guys. So John wanted to hit mitts with me first because I had the fight coming up with Diaz. And we're in contenders boxing gym over in the Carter Park. I had just did like 6 rounds of mitts with John, shadow box, all this. So John said, I want you to hit 2 rounds on this bag, 2 rounds on that bag, and 2 rounds on that bag. Now, mind you, 2 of these bags were exact same bags. And my question was, why you want me to hit 2 rounds on this bag and this bag when they're the same bag? He said, I said 2 rounds on that bag, 2 rounds on that bag, 2 rounds on that bag. And now, John don't raise his voice. If y'all can't, he's a very mild-mannered guy. But when he said it, the look in his face, he was pointing. He does. I want y'all to see this on air. When he does his fingers like this, y'all know this is some serious stuff right here. Anybody who know John know when he point like this, it's 100% real. I said, so you say you want 2 on this bag first or this bag first? And as I was hitting the bag, he came down the ring, hitting the bag, hitting the mitts with Randall Bailey or somebody. He came over to me and he said, I want this for you more than you do. He said, I want you to know what it feels like for them to say, and the new. You know what I'm saying? I want you to know what it feels like to know that you're the best man in the world at what you do. And you know what I said? Yes, sir. And from that day forward, I never questioned why he would have me do something again in that camp or any other camp. But from that day forward, it was cement for me. It was cement for me that he had my best interest at heart.
You know that fight that you won against Diaz in Cancun?
Mm-hmm.
I was literally standing in bullshit. Speaking of bullshit, I was standing in bullshit. Remember in the bull ring?
Yeah, the bull ring.
I couldn't. I had to step down and stand between the things, and I stood in the bullshit watching your fight the last couple rounds.
Right.
And then got back up and had shit all over my feet. Like I was in a pile of bullshit. So, speaking of bullshit, just a quick story for you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Next year is the 10-year anniversary of me and John going to do this. We won the world title 10 years and 4 days from today's date. My goal, that's why this is special to me. Next, on next year this time, I plan on I'm already looking at travel plans. I would like to go back to that place. I think I'm gonna get one of my friends to come to do the camera work on that. And I think we ought to go back. And this time we ain't got to go hit no mitts or nothing. You ain't got to run five minutes. You ain't got to run 5 miles in 5 minutes and 5 seconds. Because John ran a 5-minute, 5-second mile 5 times in Mexico. I never saw that. He run it. He was in as good a shape as I was. And if nobody else gets to, my daughters are going. We're gonna make a big family event out of it. And I want everybody to anybody who can and would like to come. I'm already getting that thing together. But me and John David, I really want us to go and take our families down and know that this is the first time it ever happened for us. And for us, it was a big thing. It was everything in my life. It has been the greatest thing in my life to happen to me, other than my children. It has been everything to me. It has been an honor being trained by this man, being mentored by this man. You know, I've been blessed to just be in the company of John David. And John David's still family to me. He like a big brother who's a father figure at the same time. Just you don't get many people like that in your life. So I want you to go ahead and tell me exactly what you're doing, what you got coming up.
Well, like I said, we're at the Curtis Stevens fight March 11th. A day before that, I'll be in Philadelphia. I have a young heavyweight prospect. He's named Cassius Chaney. He's 8-0. He fights in Philadelphia the night March 10th, the night before.
Okay.
Then I have a couple of young prospects that I'm working with. And then I have another middleweight named Luis Arias. He's from Cuba, but he's born in America, and he's 17-0. He's a USBA middleweight champion. He fights April 1st up in Minnesota. So I'm just staying busy right now. Trying to keep my young guys and the prospects that I got going, trying to get them to the next level, and hopefully one day get to experience what you experience, what I experienced. Not many guys really get experience that. There's a lot of champions today, but even with that, there's so many guys that don't experience that. So I just got a couple of young guys now that I'm working with, trying to take them to the next level. I have a couple of other things that I'm working on right now, but I can't say what they are until the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Then I will announce that part. But okay. I got a couple of things working with that are really nice.
All right. Well, you come on back. You can come back any day. I really want you to do this. Us to do a boxing segment at least once every Saturday if we can. We're gonna start talking.
Yeah,
about
I would love that.
And I'm gonna tell you something else. John David is. I don't know if he got his letter yet, but from what I heard through the grapevine, John David Jackson has been inducted into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame this year. Is that true?
Yeah, I got that, bro. That one shocked me.
But I heard about it before you did. I heard about it before you did. I didn't want to tell you, but I couldn't let you find out from anybody else but me. And I plan on being down. I'm actually gonna call and talk to him. I want to write something for John David. I want to tell everybody how great he is, what he means to me. Hopefully we can get everything situated for next year. We got enough time to do it. And I want you to kiss Cat. You can't punch. You got a leg trip. PJ now. PJ like 7 foot now. CJ's tall. Yeah, CJ's tall too. Now. Yeah, CJ's tall too. But let him know that Corin, but still keep you regular, baby.
That's right. No
That's an
doubt, no
inside
doubt.
joke. Much love. You welcome to come back anytime, man. You know, hey, like I
Well,
said,
listen,
let's do that weekly thing
I,
together, man.
yeah, I think we get that together. I think it would enlighten the boxing fans a whole lot, and we can educate them also at the same time. I think it's something we should really try to go for with your crazy self. And people don't really know me, but with my crazy self, it'd be a hell of a
Hey,
show.
I want to tell y'all something. John is a king at sneak dissing. I just say mine. John be sneak dissing, boy. John David be sneak dissing, Jack. You be like, man, come on, Jake, come on. Then, hey, John David sneak dissing. Then he'll sneak diss and you be like, did he just sneak this? You know. But I'm just wide open and
Yeah,
out there, and everybody. I guess I be the fire and he be the ice in this situation. But if you can get
there
Curtis
you
to
go.
call, either get Curtis to call back. I really want to give Curtis some airplay tonight. If he wants it, he can call in. You know, he's welcome. He's fraternal. He's in the fraternity. He's in the John David Jackson Championship fraternity. Just hang around this thing.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna do it for sure. Definitely, I will definitely pass that along to him.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, bro. We'll talk soon. Good talking to
All
you.
right. Much love, my brother. So I guess we're going into our first break in 5, 4, 3.
You're watching Experience the Galaxy with Nate Campbell, the only show streaming live on Ustream, YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook Live.
Tell me, Kenny, how is it you rub my belly so fine with that secret rub of yours? And don't even tell me what you're gonna do next. I love you, Kenny Bear. Tell me, Kenny baby, what you gonna do next?
Kenny Bear's Old Florida Barbecue Rub and Seasoning. Grab a bottle today.
Hi, Billy C. here. I want to talk to you about Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Ristorante Italiano. Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Ristorante Italiano serves the freshest and finest homemade Italian cuisine with Sal's family recipes from the old country. Sal's incredibly delicious brick oven pizza is the best pizza I've ever had. And I'm from New York. Come join us today on St. Simon's Island in the beautiful Golden Isles of Georgia. We're located at exit 29 off of I-95. Sal's is open for lunch and dinner Monday through Saturday, with private parties available on Sundays. For more information, call 912-268-2328 or go to salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Ristorante Italiano, where new faces become old friends, and our family tradition is to serve you the very best.
Want to bring the big show to your event? The Talkin' Boxing with Billy.
Keep going.
And we're back. Okay, dokey. I'm waiting on my next guest to call in. I have a gospel artist, Demetrius is calling. Demetrius is calling in. Tonight has been awesome. I have had a couple things going on, and you know, we're looking forward to having more John David around here. You know what I'm saying? I'm totally in love with this brother. This guy is just like he's like God in the gym. Me, Alan Green. I'm gonna have Alan Green call in a week or so. I'm gonna have Randall Bailey call in. I'm gonna have all my guys call in. We gonna Damian Frias. All my guys gonna call in. We're gonna hang out and talk a little bit about social issues. You know what I'm saying? And I am trying to get everyone involved in this show because I think every one of us need to be, you know, to know what kind of guys we're dealing with in boxing. And I think that inner news, except my next client is getting in. My next caller, Demetrius. How you doing, Demetrius?
Yes, this is Demetrius.
Hey, man, how you doing, man?
Hey, good brother. How you doing?
All right, all right. Um, man, how you doing? I'm happy to have you on. I'm happy that you called in. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man.
Man, I am a local pastor here in the city, Jacksonville. My church is called the Vision Center, and I'm also on their personality here in Jacksonville on Praise 107.9. So, my passion is community work and making sure that we take care of our people. So that's my
Oh
passion.
man, all right. You know me. Anybody who knows me knows that I get funky with the church sometimes because I'm like, the church act like they forgot what the church is really about. And a lot of
Man, look, yeah, and oftentimes we got to hold pastors accountable for what they're not doing.
See, you know what? You might get me to go back. No, I ain't get me to go back to church. I don't like the overcharge. that overcharge.
And I ain't trying. Hey, my goal ain't to get you to go to church, but if we can get in these communities, if the church can get back into the communities, then the
Exactly.
people will get back in the church.
And you know what? My thing is,
that's the key.
you know what, Demetrius? I'm gonna tell you something. I totally agree with you. I'm not mad with religion because I'm not, even though I don't. I grew up in the church. As a matter of fact, I was ordained at 22 in the Kojic church, so you had to go to church to go to
Oh
church.
yeah.
I'm a Kojic kid.
You had to be born in it.
Yeah,
You
couldn't
couldn't join in it. You had to be born in it.
For real. Yeah, this is the church of God in Christ. They meant that. They meant that. Oh, you can't join in. You got to be born in. They meant
That's
that.
it, baby. That's it.
You know what they say? There's a hand clapping, foot stomping, tongue speaking, Pentecostal church of God
Yes, sir.
in Christ. They meant that. And I came up under old school pastor named Pastor Willie Frank Robinson. His brother is the is Edward Robinson, Pastor Southside. And my issue is this. What really made me fall out with churches is because I started to do a lot more research and realized that we've taken up over $500 billion, probably close to $500 billion.
$480 million.
$480 million since the 80s, since 1980.
Since 1980. Since 400 is actually $420 billion since 1980.
Yeah.
And black churches alone. That's just black churches
That's just
alone.
black
That's
churches.
not the church in its entirety.
Right. We just talking about us, the ones that's doing the worst. And we doing the worst. I mean, how can we be worth? How can we take up that much money and still be messed up?
Have nothing to show for
Nothing to show for. No businesses, no nothing.
No businesses, no
POBs
in our community, no nothing. I totally agree with you, my brother, and that's what I teach, man. That it's time for us to step it up. There's no salvation without liberation, and our people we done got tricked into this. We need to be saved, but there's no salvation without liberation. But we need to be liberated. We don't have nothing to show for nothing, and so my motto is, until we're liberated, don't talk to me about no salvation. I don't even want to hear it.
Because if I can't eat, boy, look here, it's hard to praise on an empty stomach.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you right now. My daddy said, boy, miss me a cramp make you change your mind. And my daddy used to say that all the time. See, I'm going to talk to you about this because African-American buying power projected to be about $1.1 trillion in 2015. I heard it was closer to $1.6 trillion.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard it was close to 1.6.
I heard it was close to 1.6. Now, the second largest racial minority in the country, we 13.7%. But our spending power in America is bigger than 8 to 9 other major countries on the planet. We're talking less than 50 million people. Now, Now, what we're talking about is the Hispanics, the Asian American, all those people buy among themselves. They deal with each other. Whites deal with each other.
Yes, sir.
But we don't deal with each other. We don't.
Well, I believe it's a psychological condition. We've been programmed since the Willie Lynch theory to not work with each other, to think
you know, ever since we were prisoners of war, and I don't call us slaves because our ancestors were never slaves. They were prisoners because slaves is a Slavic term, which means Croatia, all those countries. It has nothing to do with us. But anyway, when we were prisoners of war, in order for them to know who we were or whose property, whose chattel we were, we had to be branded. And what happened psychologically, because there's so much cognitive dissonance, what happened is we went from being branded to buying brands. We don't even know how to circulate the dollar within ourselves because we think that the grass is greener or the ice is colder on the other side. So brands has been embedded in our psyche and our ancestors, believe it or not, because of the fear tactics that was put on them. I mean, it's been handed down through generation. So that's why we spend money, I believe, psychologically, why we spend money outside of our culture and not inside of our culture.
And I got one for you. Since you brought it up, let's go ahead and talk about it. In the Asian community, the dollar circulates 30 days. In the Jewish community, it circulates 20 days. In the white community, it circulates 17 days. In the black community, it circulates for 6 hours. Meaning from the day
absolutely
you get paid on Friday, you broke on Friday.
Yep.
Broke before happy hour.
You get broke at happy hour. And the sad part about it is we don't get it. We don't get it.
Yeah, but we'll stand in line for Jordans and teach our children this foolishness. Stand in line for Jordans for 2 days and own no stock in the company. While at the same time he's invested in the prison industrial complex. You understand what I'm saying? So we have no clue, man. We are lost. And I say this, my brother, we are lost now more than we've ever been. We were closer when we were prisoners of war. We was closer in the 60s. We was closer before integration. We was closer then, and we've taken 10 steps backwards because we don't even know our ancestral heritage. We don't even know our story. We know his story, but we don't know our story at all. So we're really a lost people right now, man. And it's up to people like yourself and my other brother that's on the phone and many, many more to bring us back to prominence, because prominence is where we started.
Right.
Prominence was when we worked together. And we done forgot that. That's why we got so much killings and everything else in our own community, because we don't even value each other, man. It's sad.
And you know what? Here's my thing. I don't think that we really get this. We don't get this portion of it. The more that we learn about other people's story, because it's not our story, it's his, like you said, it's his story. The more that we isolate ourselves from our past of greatness. Because I made a statement to somebody the other day, and he was telling me that the Egyptians were white. I said, ho.
Yeah. Not until Alexander the Great came in and robbed everybody and put himself on the throne. Alexander the Greek, because he was never great. Until the end, that's when the European Caucasian came in. But the Greeks, up until that, we ran everything.
I was talking tonight, and I was having a discussion with someone. I said, you do know that under African male rule, there was no war. There was no Great World Wars. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for the Moors, Europe would still be a bunch of Neanderthals. They were sleeping with their animals.
Running around in caves. Absolutely.
They were, and they were also sleeping with their animals in their home. The Dark Ages was about sickness and money.
And watch this, my brother. I'm so glad you said that. They were sleeping with animals then, and now they're passing laws in states now for you to be able to sleep with animals again.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't hear what I said.
Oh, I heard. Wait a minute, John. You better tell him I talk about this all the time. See, my issues and my thing is this here. But my argument
but we don't talk about this in the church, though. Don't nobody talk about this in the church. It's all about give Jesus some glory and give me your money.
You said it. I didn't. You should have been on here the other night when I was talking about do you know that the top 10 earners in the world that are pastors are worth about $3 billion?
Absolutely.
Do you realize how much money that is, what you can do. Why do you need? I'm asking you this question. Since we're having a discussion about it, you went there and I had to go. I'm gonna go with you.
Hey, well, it's my passion, brother. It's my passion.
But I'm glad you went there because it make my job easier.
Yeah.
Not how come. Why come? It's okay. It's okay now for someone. Why come it's so okay now for someone to come to the church and be gay and get less, but a person that's not married to the woman he's with get more static than the two gays? In a lot of churches.
Well, let me take you back then. Let me take you back down a trip in his story. Okay, I'm gonna make it real quick. The church was started by
the Romans.
Constantine, right? In the Council of Nicaea, 325 A.D. Well, we all know that the Greeks and the Romans were gay. Okay, let me say that again. The church was founded in 325 A.D. by Constantine. That's when they really started all of this. The Pope, the whole nine, all of this started off, and they were already gay, the Greeks and the Romans.
And so was the guy that they put up as Jesus.
The reason why it's so accepted in church is because that's really the foundation, and we don't want to talk about that, but that's the foundation. That's the foundation of how it started, my brother. It was always there. So if it's already in the paint, eventually it's gonna show up on the wall.
Oh boy, look here. Did he say that? Did he say that if it's in the paint, it's gonna show? Boy, let me tell you something. My grandmama would say this all the time: a hit dog will holler.
There you go.
Boy, a hit dog will holler. And when you say that in church, let me tell you something. I was sitting in church at a prominent AME church. And I saw a gay woman, her and her gay lover, come and sit on the front row. I said, let me tell you something. That's how you know this church has no power. This how they know this church has no power. Because at least when I was going to church, you was not going to come up on the front row with your mess.
Yeah. Well, you know, I can go a little. I can expound a little deeper than that. That ain't necessarily the only reason they ain't got no power. It don't have no power because the foundation is built on untruths. But we're not gonna really tap into all of that right now today.
We gonna have a show. We gonna have a show just you and me. Just trust me. We gonna sit down and talk about this just you and me. My issue is this.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the issue at hand.
Okay.
What do we do fundamentally when it comes to our spending that will help us? You do know that we only less than 2% of what we spend stays in our community. So with that being said, if we can get to 10%, they say it will give an influx of 1 million new jobs for black people in America. What do we do? How do we get to the 10%? Then how do we get to the 20%? How do we get to the 30%? How do we do it?
That's an absolute powerful question, man. It's a brilliant question. And I think that's the question we're all asking right now. And I think when we talk about communities, the root word of community is commune, which means that everything you need is right in walking distance or in an area that you can just get to that's easily accessible. Well, we don't really have communities no more. We have neighborhoods, and that's where hoods come from. That's where the term hoods come from. This is my hood. And so there's a difference between communities and hoods. And right now, for the most part, we only have neighborhoods because there's no shopping plazas in our neighborhoods. In our communities, there's no restaurants in our communities. There's no stores where you can go buy clothes or grocery shopping. For the most part,
yes, they are.
We lack that. Because we don't have communities, we have to go outside of our neighborhoods to go find communities to spend our dollars in.
Hold on, I'm going to show you something.
And so I think, go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off. Yes, we do. We do have all that, but they're not owned by us. And the people that are taking the money, that money, they're taking it to their community. So we do have them.
Yeah.
We just don't own them.
Yeah, that I agree with. We have no own. That's what I was building up to. We have no ownership. So once we get back to ownership, then we can create an infrastructure in our communities where people don't have to go nowhere. You can stay right here, man. You can go to we should own our own restaurants. We should own everything, and that way you can stay right here. You can shop. You can spend your dollars right here. But we don't really have that.
I remember back in the day.
Not to its full potential. We have some glimpses of it, but not to its full potential. Is what I'm saying.
I grew up in a day of premium meats. When we bought our meat, we bought everything we owned from premium meats. Right? I could catch one bus right down the street, go to premium meats. My dad would be sick, and my daddy was real sick, so he was in the hospital. So food stamp would come. I'd get the money, go do the shop in the premium, or either Daylight. Now, Daylight grocery store. Now, John looked at me crazy. Daylight grocery store was as hood as it would come. You could go to Daylight grocery store and buy 65 pounds of pig feet for $14. When you were done, you would spend up. Say you get $300, $400 worth of food stamp. You spend $200 worth of food stamp, and you can eat for a month off that. Basically, it seemed like because the dollar went farther. And say you didn't have any cash, and you needed to ride home with all your groceries. You go outside on the side of the building and pay one of the guys that was waiting on the side of the building.
That take you right home.
And take you right home. So
I remember that.
And people don't get that. My thing is, I'm not saying we should be on food stamps because I don't believe we should. But I do believe that if we spent more money in our community, we could employ each other. We can get back to nepotism. Like you said, I once told somebody the greatest trick ever used against the black people was Martin Luther King. They said, why would you say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I said, why? They said, why would I say that? I said, because we was doing damn well before he went to all that damn marching. Talking about we was doing well without them.
And you know what he said at the very end? He said, I'm afraid that I led my people into a burning building.
Boy, my brother, because Demetrius, you the man. You the man right now, I'm telling you.
Because he realized at the end, and Malcolm was trying to tell him the whole time, bro, we don't need integration.
We need separation.
we need more separation and segregation, and we need to work together because with our dollars already doing what we're doing, we don't need nobody else. And so I really believe now. I don't know Martin King or do I know Malcolm X besides just channeling the ancestor spirit every now and then. But I really believe that Malcolm Martin thought he was doing something good to the very end, and then he realized, man, I done screwed up drastically. Because oftentimes when they give us a plan, they already have a plan on top of the plan, and we don't really know what the major plan is. You know what I'm saying? So it looks good, but it ain't always good for us.
Listen to me. Let me tell you something. You know why they went ahead and mashed and blew Martin Luther head off? Him and Malcolm X have been having meetings, and they were the next march was going to be Malcolm X
for reparations.
And boom, there you go. Why do you think they killed Johnny Cochran? He had wrote a brief.
That's right.
And they killed this man dead, and then turned around.
And it wasn't until Martin King started sounding like Malcolm X at the end when he was saying, "We need our money. It's time for us to go get our 40 acres and a mule. They owe it to us. They're giving it to everybody else." That's when they say, "Oh no, we got to get rid of it." He ain't talking about no more freedom and integration. He's talking about getting that bread, and that's when they had to. Let me tell you something. What they did.
I heard somebody say this, and I heard somebody say this. Brother said this. He said, "When you build a church, if you don't have an army, that church won't stand." And Malcolm was the army to Martin's church.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people don't want to talk about that. Malcolm was the army to his church. My issue simply is this. Demetrius, I got to have you back. I must have you back.
Hey, man. Hey, brother, I'm honored to be on the show with some brothers that's like-minded and that has our community in their best interest, man. I appreciate allowing me on tonight.
Oh, anytime. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing right now. Because you may be able to, I want to announce over there. Me and Lil Duval, the comedian, have a boxing program that this man is funding out of his pocket. He's funding it out of his pocket. So I want people to understand something.
Man, that's good. I just seen a post that you posted that he came and spoke, too, earlier today.
Let me tell you something. Lil Duval is my dude. Now, we may not agree on everything, but we agree on enough to know that our community need this. And I train for nothing. He paid for the time in the gym, and I train the kids for nothing. He don't get nothing out of this, but knowing some kid has a chance. How can you ask me? And we don't have to believe the same religiously. We don't have to think that. That's our problem. Our problem is, and I say this, and I once told somebody this. And I said this not too long ago. The reason that I think that a lot of black relationships in America are failing, and we too busy wanting to be the same instead of having two polar opposites. Because a good battery, a good battery is a polar opposite. You got to have a negative and a positive. I said the problem is we don't know how to act, how to work in that polar opposite state. That's why a man that's a Muslim could. A friend of mine's mother was a Christian. His daddy was a Muslim, and they stayed married for all like 40-some years. How does that happen? Yeah. Well, they were polar opposites. Yeah. He loved her more than he loved his Islam. She loved him more than she loved her Christianity, and they raised beautiful, well-rounded children.
And those are probably some of the best children right now, or grown-ups right now ever.
Let me tell you something. The guy named Chris Morris is his daddy and his mama. I call Chris. Wow. I call Chris a bad man. I say, Chris, you a bad man. They're like, why you say that? I said, I love it. I said, Chris is my father figure. And they laugh at me because me and Chris not far apart. I said, he my father figure. Because how can we stop? We got to get away from loving a religion more than we love each other.
Man, listen to me, man. I just did a series called The Death of Religion. But religion is killing us faster than black on black, white on white crime, man. It's killing us because the word itself, religion, is a Latin word that means to tie back, to keep from advancing. That's the etymology of the word religion, bro. So it has nothing good for us. We are spiritual people. And when we get back to spirit, then there's no more man-made religion that we have to follow. Then I can love you, and then you can love him, and we can all love each other, and then we can start working together and doing something. And once we, and that example that you just gave of that couple, they didn't see religion. That's why they was able to make it for 40-some years, because they didn't see religion.
And my thing is this here. It took me a long. I would get so angry with people about that. Like, man, you that religion, but you know what I had to realize? I gotta love you enough to not see your religion. I gotta love you enough to not see. Look, so okay, you believe in that. I don't, but I believe in you. Yeah, and that's my thing. We gotta get back to believing in each other.
Say it again. So, hold on, say that again, brother. I don't believe in that,
but I believe in you.
But I believe in you,
and that's
what I teach. That's what I teach. Knowledge of self. And once we learn to believe in each other, we can rock with it.
And that's the problem. And that's killing us. So, man, thank you for coming on. Look, I hope you have my phone number.
Well, I don't, but I get it, though. I get it, man. I definitely get it.
I want you to get my phone number. We're going to talk. We're going to spend a lot more time on this air together. Thank you so much for coming.
Appreciate you, my brother.
All right, now.
Peace to the God.
All right, now.
You're watching Experience the Galaxy with Nate Campbell, the only show streaming live on Ustream, YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook Live.
Tell me, Kenny, how is it you rub my belly so fine with that secret rub of yours? And don't even tell me what you're gonna do next. I love you, Kenny Bear. Tell me, Kenny baby, what you gonna do next?
Kenny Bear's Old Florida Barbecue Rub and Seasoning. Grab a bottle today.
Last caller to call in right now. I'm waiting on my last caller to call. My next caller to call in right now. This next caller is out. He's calling in right now. This next caller is outstanding when it comes to talking about what we've been talking about today, which is black empowerment. So I want you guys to give it. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
How you doing? This is Brother Thomas. Thomas Lofton.
Yes, it is.
How you doing, Brother Lofton? This is Nate Campbell. Thank you for coming on to Experience the Galaxy.
Not a problem, brother. Appreciate you for having me.
Oh, man. It's an honor to have you. Could you give a little backstory about yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
My background is the classic car industry. I restored lowriders for a number of years. They say I pioneered lowriding and took it to the next level. So I eventually came out of that industry and started teaching what I know.
Right. So I heard that you're the reason that we have shows like Overhauling and what is it? Pimp My Ride.
Yeah.
Hey, those my hey, I watch them shows every day. I'm
Right.
I'm a wrench head myself.
Oh, okay. There you go. So you know the language.
Oh yeah, when I was world champion, I had a I had a '57 Volkswagen Bug, totally restored. I'm talking beautiful car. I had a 1963 Chevy. Had a 63 Chevy truck with a 96 96 back on it. I had a 69, I had a 64, I had a 65 El Camino, I had a 72 El Camino, 71 Chevelle, 2 Mustangs. I'm a 88 and 87. I am an old school car fanatic. I don't think I own anything. The newest car I had was I want to say it was the truck the truck we were driving, which was a Armada, which I didn't want. That wasn't my thing. That was for her.
Wow.
but man, I talk to us about what you do now. You know, because I know if you're a car guy, you're always a car guy. Talk to us about what you do now.
Yeah. Well, what I do now is I travel around the country, talking to the schools and different people about the auto industry, meaning a lot of people don't realize that the trades are what's happening, because that's what I graduated from high school with, was a trade in auto mechanics.
There you go.
So eventually I learned how to weld, and all these trades are literally making tons of money. So when you talk about starting businesses, it's, you're putting yourself in a great situation when it comes down to whether it's welding or restoring cars. So no one in my industry came out and started talking about it. So I decided, let me go ahead and do that, because the industry is having some issues where we got more work than what we can handle because of all these TV shows,
Right.
So when I started putting cars in movies, commercials, videos, and TV shows, it just skyrocketed the demand. So now we need more auto body guys, we need more painters, we need more mechanics, we need more fabricators, we need more welders, we need more electricians, we need guys to build these cars. So I decided to take it upon myself to just go out and start teaching classes and webinars and, training people and just bringing exposure to that industry.
Okay. Well, I'm a wrench head. There's no joke about it. I'm a wrench head. As a matter of fact, me and one of my kids was talking today. We were at the car place where I go get all my car stuff done. And the guy's named Mr. Frazier. He builds the baddest engines, man. He built a newer Hemi engine and put it into a Charger for me. That I bought the car. It was just a car he had around the shop. He put an engine in this car that ran so good. Me as a car guy, because I'm a Chevy lover, but I'm a car guy first. I had to have the car, and it has come to the realization that I made the statement a few weeks back that I never understood how people could actually run their mouth and say they will act like the blue collar jobs are not where it's at anymore. They don't understand that you got to have a blue collar guy to make sure these white collar guys don't get their hands dirty. For real.
Right.
And my uncle's name was Bobby T. He was a master mortar mixer back before they had the trucks coming around. He would mix it by hand. And he knew how to mix every kind, for a sidewalk, for a building, for whatever way that they wanted to mix it. He could mix it off the top of his head. He couldn't read. But he had a trade. He had a trade, and he was making like $500-$600 a week back then in the 70s. I'm talking 75, 76, 77. He was already getting paid. And our problem is now they tell you that you got to go to college to get a degree to work on a car, because it's all computers, a lot of it. But the truth of the matter is, the real money ain't even in the computers. The real money is knowing how to set a carburetor up.
Exactly.
Because all the real good cars, like the ones that I like and you like, come with carburetors on them.
Exactly.
So,
but But we've been bypassing that now. We've been putting them tune port engines, the fuel injection engines in them now, them LS motors rather than Corvettes.
Oh yeah, you ain't got to tell me. But I'm a LT1 fanatic myself. I truly adore a LS motor. I truly adore. There's nothing like an engine that can purr like a kitten but growl like a cat all in one breath.
Exactly. I always tell people, I say the car ain't sounding right if it don't sound like it's some rock wallers up under the hood arguing.
And this is what I want. What you said so far is in line with everything I'm talking about. The trades are the best way for us as a community to get back on our feet, I think, because everybody. Right. I'm gonna be honest with you. The average black man can't get a job once because a lot of them coming out of prison. This, that, and other. But a trade is a trade. When you have a trade, you can raise sand with a trade. And I tell people that all the time. A trade is the way to go.
You know what, Nate? Hello?
I'm here.
I'm gonna say something, man. It's frustrating when I hear these people talk about you gotta have this kind of knowledge. You gotta know how to do this. You gotta have the math to do all of these things. Now ain't nothing wrong with the math, but I'm one of the baddest car builders, well celebrated in the world. And I can't even read the tape measure.
Wow.
But yet I can go in there and mold a frame. I can build a car from ground up from nothing, from scratch. I can go and correct things that's out there. So we got a lot of brothers that's brilliant that, like you said, can't even read. But it's brilliant. I wouldn't want nobody else touching my car except for him because he can hear it. He knows what it's supposed to do.
It's in his heart.
He knows how to make it do it on his own. But what the reason, one of the main reasons why I decided to go out into the world and start talking about this industry, which, by the way, a lot of brothers wasn't happy about that because for some reason they feel that they can handle this 10, 20 million people that's dealing with classic cars all to themselves. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't understand.
It's too much money for you to handle. So what I look at is, let me tell you about my industry. When I got into this low riding industry, I was spending a lot of money on tow trucks, towing my car to the muffler shop, to the paint shop, to the sandblaster, to the powder coater, to the interior shop and back each time, So I realized, I said, you know what? I'm spending too much money, like $12,000 a month and up on a tow truck. And then I realized one day, I said, you know what? Let me buy a tow truck.
Bam.
And I called one of my partners and said, man, you got a driver's license? And next thing you know, boom, we ended up with 4 tow trucks. Then all of a sudden, we ended up finding a lot of those cars on the East Coast. People got barns, got old classic Chevys sitting in the garage or sitting in the barn in the backyard in the field on their 50 acres. So, boom, we end up buying car carriers because we shipping them cars back to California like by the dozen, like weekly. I'm shipping dozens of cars. People calling me saying, hey, man, I got a barn and I got 10 of them cars and I'm in Wisconsin out here. I'm in New York. I'm in Miami. I'm in Tennessee. I'm in Chicago. I need you to come get them. Give me $500 a piece. Man, we ended up with car carriers, So my point is, we invested into this industry, and now when you ask who owns the majority of the car transporters, it's African Americans. Who owns a lot of the tow truck companies in L.A.? African Americans. Because we go out there. So I got brothers that own tow truck companies, got 5 and 6 trucks. Some of them got 20. And doing very well. Not working for companies, but it is so many businesses that started from this industry. And these guys is making high 6 figures and 7 figures a year. And then you got the ones who are doing movies back to back, putting cars in movies, or some Saudi Arabian prince's personal mechanic building his cars. He got 200 cars. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I've seen some amazing things in this industry. Crazy things that half the time I can't even talk about because people won't believe it. And
you can talk to me about it because I believe it. I've seen some crazy stuff. But these are blue collar. See, my thing is this: we're talking about the industry of car building. What I'm just using this as to do is to segue into how this is a way that we can keep money in our community. Because more than and the problem is, we were talking earlier. I was talking earlier to someone, and I was like, what I want people to understand is this. We got to stop price gouging. That's the one thing that has to stop among our people. Stop trying to make it all on everybody. If you give a fair price, if it's fair, if my price can stand up next to the guy next door to mine's price, it's all about rapport. And the problem is, I heard a young lady say today, she said, we got to stop price gouging. And I want to make that evident. We can build a great community, build our communities back great again through blue collar. But we got to stop trying to take advantage of each other. Painting houses.
I'm going to tell you this, Nate. I had a guy come from, I had a 58 Chevy Impala.
Wow.
And I built a couple of them, so I had a couple of extra parts for it. Because, you know, to put a rusty car together, you need 3-4 cars sometimes.
Right. Sometimes you got to cut it up.
Right. So long story short, I had extra parts, and I had a frame to a 58. And I decided to put it on the paper, on the paper for advertising for sale for about $1,200 or whatever. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I got a guy call me out of Beverly Hills, ask me what's wrong with it. And I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? What's wrong with you? Everybody in Compton and L.A. know it's worth $1,000 to $1,200. I'm a little on the high end. You know, I got a name brand shop. All of a sudden, the guy come down there with his mechanic, and he's swearing up and down something wrong with it. But he paid me the $1,200, but he knew something was wrong with it. Why did he know something was wrong with it, Nate? Because in Beverly Hills, that frame is worth $7,000-8,000.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So people might come in my shop and say, well, TJ, too dang high. Well, guess what? I'm targeting this market from Beverly Hills.
Right.
I got this high-end customer base. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So why would I be over here trying to get $1,200 when everybody keep coming in my shop asking me what's wrong with my parts? What's wrong with this car? You got this 58 convertible. What's wrong with it? You only want $100,000. We get $250 in Beverly Hills. Well, maybe I need to go move my shop to Beverly Hills. So I started targeting people in those areas.
And that's the way to do it. But I mean, I can live with that.
So,
but my issue is if you're in the black community, if you dealing with folk that ain't got that kind of money, you got to work around what you have.
But see, I'm a business owner, Nate, so I know how this game works. When we start talking about people price gouging, there's a number of factors we got to look into here. How do we know he price gouging? Well, the Asian store across the street, he want $5 for that gallon of milk, right? And then the brother over here, he want $8 for the same gallon of milk. Well, why is that Asian milk so low?
Because the Asian has better buying power.
The Asian is a part of a conglomerate where it's like 50 of them, and they all together. And they all own little mini markets. So they ain't going in there buying 10 gallons of milk. They go in there buying 800 gallons.
Right.
At a reduced price. Where the brother, he going in there, he can only afford to buy 10. So he's paying much higher than the Asians across the street. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So me myself, I understand that brother's in this game by himself because you got to remember, I'm a businessman too, and I know it was me against the Hispanics, me against the Europeans. When I go to the store to buy something, it's costing me way more because I'm in there tomorrow, let me get 1 or 2. They in there tomorrow, let me get 13 or 25.
Right.
Fast forward the story. When I go to my brother and he want $8, I gladly pay that $8 because I know what he's going through.
Right.
But I do know by tomorrow when he builds, he's going to drop that price and he's going to be compatible.
Right.
He can compete.
But here's my issue. Why not become a part of a conglomerate for your people? Why not practice group economics? And my issue, I've been talking about it all day, right? All night, John. Have I been talking about that?
Yep.
Group economics is where it's at. Because
I'm with you on that.
And my thing is, but then when I say price gouging, I ain't just talking about that. I'm just not talking about that. Here's where I'm going with the price gouging. I sent my wife in to get her car fixed. And you know I ain't lying, this has happened on more than one occasion. I don't have a wife no more, but they want to charge her $75 for a U-tie. I'm just using this as a hypothetical. But when I come in, they give me that same U-tie for $25. That's the kind of price gouging this young lady was talking about. She wasn't talking about...
That's nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's not gouging. It's still supplying. How many... When we talk about used tires, come on, you know I'm a builder. I started Compton Wire Wheel, so I had a tire business, and I know how that works. Again, now you're in competition with the Hispanics.
Well,
the
no.
Hispanics is a conglomerate.
But
they got 15 stores.
But wait a minute. What I just said was this. You want to charge my wife $75, but when I come in, you want to charge me $25 for the same tire in the same store. That's what she's talking about.
Oh, okay. But that ain't just her, though. That ain't just you.
Well, no.
That's period. That's business.
That's business.
Wherever you go, though. That ain't just us. Everybody do that.
But my thing is that that's the problem. We just talked about this with Demetrius. I had another guy on before you, Demetrius. I don't know if you heard him. And he was talking about community has a root word which means to commune. We gotta stop doing this. I know you want to get it all, but you can't get it all from that one. Come on, let's be honest. If I deal with people now because they treat me fair. I want to deal with my people too. And I support black business 100%. I want to buy my cars from my black car salesman. I want to buy I want everything black that I can buy because we don't support each other enough. Ain't that I hate nobody else. I just want us to be around. And I like to see another cat that's a go-getter. But my question is, how is that not price gouging when they're going to charge her $75, but me $25?
Okay, but that's not just found in our community. I deal with that. I deal with that every day.
Right.
Every day. I had one of my ex-girlfriends is a doctor, living on top of the hill up in I don't even want to say the name. Anyway, very affluent neighborhood.
I lived in LA, so I know the neighborhood if you say it.
Okay, Palos Verdes. So anyway,
there you go.
We up in PV. I used to live in PV. So
right.
Sister tell me her car breaks down, and she said, I just had it fixed. It's doing the same thing. Like you said, I'm a car guy. I know exactly what's wrong with the car. I say, oh, that's $100 problem right there. I can fix it. Let's go get the part. No, I paid these people $2,200. You don't know what you're talking about. I said, no, I know exactly what I'm talking about. That's this. I went in there. I said, you paid them $2,200. Yes, she did. Give me the receipt. Where's the receipt at? I get the receipt. Look at the receipt. It's raw. It's blank. It don't really say much. I go into the place and say, hey, the car's doing the same thing. I said, why did you charge her for coils, springs and shocks, and all this stuff that she didn't need? Oh, well, it needed it. I said, no, but that ain't why she brought the car in here. She came in here, told the car in here, said the car cut off on her at the light.
Right.
She didn't come in here and say the car run bad.
Right.
The people I was talking to was not black, brother. They charged her $2,200 on a problem that was $100 problem, electrical problem.
Let's get this established.
And now we can talk about the other sister that calls me and say, I send her down there. I tell her, what she needed, a oil change or something. She come back, tell me her transmission went out. I said, how the transmission go out? He said, but there's something wrong. It just happens like that. Long story short, car driving funny. They want to charge her $2,400, matter of fact, to put a new transmission in her car. I go get the car, take it to the transmission shop. They say the code was off. When they changed the oil, they turned off something. They reset the code. They need to reset the code again.
Oh yeah, what it did was they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Right. But they wasn't black.
I ain't gonna do with that. I'm simply telling you didn't I just explain to you what the problem is? I don't have every race is doing that though. Right. Not just us. But I ain't talking about them because I'm trying to do business with you. You get what I'm saying? I don't care what the white guy do, the Asian guy do. I'm talking about can I trust? The problem is we have no trust for one another and I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. You're a business owner, true enough. And our problem is, and when we stop trusting each other, as we've been doing it a long time, not trusting each other a long time, what are we gonna do to restore trust one another, to restore the trust that we should have for one another, and make it where we want to do business with each other? That's what
we have trust with each other, brother. It sounds like you're talking about an isolated incident.
No, I'm just telling you.
I look at everybody I deal with as brothers and black owned, and I don't have that problem.
Right,
but a lot of my friends, I know most businesses I know that I deal with is black owned, and we run very reputable businesses. So I think you're talking about an isolated incident.
I'm just telling you what this woman, what her argument was. This was her argument, and this is what we got to combat this. If we got to say something about it. That's what the whole program is about. Talking about these kinds of things, having a discussion, open discussion about how people really feel. And this is how this particular, this ain't the only one, but she's the one that stuck out the most when she said price gouging. Being around the car, I know about going to junkyards. One junkyard want more for their junk than the other one do. And I understand that. But my argument was how do we change that?
I really can't argue that, Nate, because I don't have that problem. When I think of people, when I put it like this, if a sister came into my shop and the tire is normally $25, and then I charge her $75, you know why I did that, Nate?
No,
because she come in there acting like something wrong, and something ain't right. And do you got a business license? And are you certified? So she letting me know if something go wrong, she gonna sue me. So you gonna charge her a full price, right? To protect yourself, because you know she's a problem right off the top. I know you've seen that customer that's a problem customer that's just asking about everything that normal people don't ask, meaning I'm going to be a problem in your future. You can't give me no discount. She coming in there acting like she all that in high society and what's wrong with this and what's wrong with that. Oh, she's going to be a problem. Charge her.
Oh, wow. Well,
that's basically said, I don't really want to do business with you. But you come rolling in, man, I just need a tire. I got like $25 in my name, man. What do you got, brother? If you can look out for me. Oh, Nate, man, I got this $25 tire. You can have it. Man, brother, I appreciate you, man. Here you go. Thanks.
I'm going to relay that.
I ain't worried about you. You seem to be cool.
I'm going to relay that to my we relate that. That's been relayed to the listeners now. It's all according to his price, the prices of these, which is true most cases. The prices of a lot of things are according to how your attitude is. That is true.
There you go. There you go.
I understand that, but she was upset about that. And if you're listening, my sister, be nice. Thank you. Hey, Thomas, come in. You talk, man. Can we talk more often, man? Could you come on and give your expertise on cars and whatnot? Because I am,
brother. Just call me up, brother. Hey, it's always a wonderful thing talking to another car guy.
Oh man, I'm actually doing a 1999 2000 dually. I want to do something real funky to this car. I'll definitely be contacting you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And we're off to break.
Watching Experience the Galaxy with Nate Campbell, the only show streaming live on Ustream, YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook Live.
Tell me, Kenny, how is it you rub my belly so fine with that secret rub of yours? And don't even tell me what you're gonna do next. I love you, Kenny Bear. Tell me, Kenny baby, what you gonna do next?
Kenny Bear's Old Florida Barbecue Rub and Seasoning. Grab a bottle today.
All right. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank y'all for coming over to experience the Galaxy with Nate Campbell. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We had a great time. I had a great time talking to Demetrius. I had a great time talking to Thomas. I had a great time talking. John David is always a pleasure. I had a great time talking to everybody tonight. I want you guys to keep tuning in. Next week we're gonna have another show. It's gonna be even bigger than this tonight's show was. I'll let you guys know online what we're gonna be talking about. Thank you for coming and tuning in to Experience the Galaxy with your man, Nate Campbell.